Welcome back, Idiot Squared viewers. This week we have a interesting episode. We're going to talk about spaceships, Starship, SpaceX, Elon Musk, the media, narratives that they create around this, Doom and Gloom, and we're even going to throw in a little bit of OpenAI drama. The CEO, Sam Altman, fired overnight, kicked off the board as well. Actually, I don't know if he was kicked off the board, but Greg Brockman was also kicked off the board. Anyway, we're going to cover it all in this episode, so stay tuned. Polska, how are you today?
I'm good, Guy. That came to me as a surprise that he got fired. I had no idea that went down.
Yeah.
Should we start with that, or do you want to get into that later?
No, we can start with that for sure. So yesterday, OpenAI, the board, fired the CEO, Sam Altman, the sort of the front, the face, the possibly driving force behind it. They let him go. They said that he was not candid with the board at certain times, and so they let him go. They fired him essentially. Yeah. And then they were stepping down Greg Brockman from the board, but keeping him on. And then Greg Brockman heard about this and he resigned. Essentially, he quit. So there's a lot of turmoil. There's been a lot of drama on X about all of this, and pretty interesting. So it's news to you.
Yeah, I had no idea that went down. So when you say he was candid with the board, what do you mean by that? What does that mean?
He wasn't candid with the board. So
he wasn't candid.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what they wrote in their press release. It's all very opaque at the moment. But apparently he was not candid with them, so he wasn't necessarily truthful with them, or he didn't disclose all sorts of information. What's emerging is a bunch of different theories, but essentially the leading theory at the moment is that he was looking to raise tens of billions of dollars from Saudi Arabians and sovereign wealth funds and maybe even SoftBank to pursue AI chip design or something like that. And it just did not align with OpenAI's core mission, apparently. And so, they fired him as the CEO. But here's the kicker. Apparently, according to Routers, they're in talks with getting him back on board.
You never know with these things, man. If it's like a publicity stunt, what's actually happening, the information, he wasn't candid with the board. Could mean a billion different fucking things.
Correct.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that he was trying to raise money from SoftBank. That's a chip company established in Japan, I believe. And they just went public recently. Their IPO was a month and a half ago.
Are you sure it's SoftBank?
Sorry, no, wait. That's wrong. SoftBank, they bought a company.
Correct.
It's called ARM. Yeah, it's called ARM. ARM specializes in, I can't remember what kind of chips, CPU. They specialize in CPU chips, not GPU ones, but CPU ones. And I think SoftBank acquired them 3 years ago, ARM. And ARM is a company from Japan. Or maybe SoftBank's from Japan.
I think ARM is from the UK.
Okay, so SoftBank is a Japanese company.
Yeah. SoftBank is essentially a giant fund run by Masayoshi-san. I think that's right. They have billions and billions and billions of dollars that they are investing into lots of things globally over the last few years. Quite notorious for making some really bad investments and losing a shit ton of money. But it was essentially a sort of VC venture capital fund kind of thing. But a wealth fund that was just throwing billions of dollars around. So that's all kind of fascinating, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. So it's ARM that went public recently. They bought ARM 3 years ago, I think for maybe a $30 billion valuation. And they went public maybe a month and a half ago at a $60 billion valuation, I believe. And so it's interesting that he was looking at SoftBank for an investment into AI. I think, AI is reliant on CPU and GPU chips heavily, isn't it?
GPU specifically, yeah. But I think
Not
what
so much
Sam was,
CPU.
yeah, Sam was trying to, machine learning is predominantly done on GPUs. So I think that what they were trying to do, Altman's, other plan or vision is to build hardware specifically for machine learning or artificial intelligence. And apparently this did not align with OpenAI's core mission of, providing safe AGI for everyone. So yeah, it's really interesting, but a lot of drama, a lot of like it was a very abrupt thing. So apparently, like Microsoft, who have a big share in OpenAI, didn't even know this was happening, and it came as like quite a shock. And it's interesting because like the board is made up of only a few people who kind of seems like it's odd to have them as board members. But I'm not super well versed in this, but that was like what was being circulated. So yeah, pretty fascinating, but threw a bit of a spanner in the works. But at the same time,
What's your take on it, though?
Well, my take is it's probably like it's not. I don't think it's a bad thing. Again, I think only time will tell. But what it does do is it opens up a whole world of possibilities for Sam Altman and Greg Brockman to go off and to pursue like AI and all these other projects in a structure that's possibly easier or better for them to do it. OpenAI had a very strange structure. It started as a not-for-profit, then it went to like a capped profit model where investors could only make 100x their money back. They were capped at 100x. So if they made 100x profit, they were capped at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a whole bunch of other like strange sort of structural things. So it's kind of like a freeing thing, really. And then since then, a bunch of other key sort of engineers and people at OpenAI have also resigned because of this. So yeah, very interesting. There's another emerging theory, that this is a EA or effective altruist, aka the Doomers, ploy to oust the accelerationists, the EACs, which are Sam and Greg, the people that believe in just accelerating towards AI as fast as we can. And there's a whole host of things we could discuss about that, but that's like those two different movements.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was trying to get to, is that Sam's vision was more towards OpenAI, open source, right? And I believe that, in the midst of this, of the evolution of AI, it's started to have some sort of regulation, as we've seen ourselves, right? Like it is definitely left leaning. So maybe that's where the disconnect is between him and the board. He sort of maybe wants it to be, no, we need to, because he has that accelerationist sort of mindset that we need to get this out to everybody. Everyone needs to have access to it. It's good for everybody. Whereas the board is like, hold on, listen, we need to follow some rules here, put regulations, control it. We're getting pressure for it to be controlled as well. So maybe it was a mutual separation. Maybe he was like, you know what, I'm going to go and do this again on my own, make my own team, and, complete the vision that I had. And you fuckers go ahead and, regulate it, do whatever you want with it. I'm out. Peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, potentially. I think this came as a shock to him as well. But we'll see over the next few days, weeks, months. We'll see what happens. But I think ultimately it's actually probably like only going to accelerate things, because essentially what they've done now is like it's split into, they've gone from one thing into another thing or a couple of other things. And that sort of diversity sort of, in my opinion, will increase the chances of getting to AGI or ASI sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and once you go woke, you go broke. It just seems to be this new this new sort of thing that's been happening, eh? But seriously, so it's anytime these people try and get woke and make things more woke, they don't achieve what they're trying to, because now, like you said, Sam is free to go do his own thing. So, they could have had him on the team, but
yeah, it feels like they kind of fucked up a bit in that regard. because now they've essentially just let him out into the world, and he's going to have like billions and billions of dollars knocking on his door, like, yo, we'll give you money, whatever you want to do, let's go. That kind of vibe. So
Hell
it'll be
yeah,
interesting to
maybe
see.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, I don't know. There was some funny tweet, or I don't know what you call them now, X's, that came out about like people offering jobs and being like, we're hiring, and there's some funny memes about all that sort of stuff. The head AI guy or head mathematician for XAI or Grok, the new XAI, Greg Yang, he posted an X or a tweet about this, saying he wants to call it G-Reg AI, and it's the three Gregs. So Greg, him, Greg Brockman, and then the anonymous account Greg on X. I don't know if you've ever seen Greg, the anonymous account, but he is fucking hilarious. All right, I'll just
fishing post.
He's a troll, like an anonymous,
Oh,
hilarious
okay, yeah.
internet troll. Very funny. I'll just quickly share it with you. But if you have anything you want to comment on that, let me know.
I just think like anyone who teams up, everyone's kind of trying to team up with, or in a way, sort of with Elon Musk recently. Like when Tucker when he got let go from Fox, he immediately connected with Elon, and now he's huge on X, and he's huge everywhere. And I thought that was going to be a slow process. I thought it was going to be a couple years before he's, but everything happens so fucking quick now. And I remember having a phone call with my dad, and I was like, yeah. And I was telling my dad, because my dad was like, yo, can you believe it? And I'm like, yo, don't worry, Dad. He's going to be back and even like bigger than ever. Just give him a couple years. You'll see. And it happened like in a month.
Yeah.
It's crazy, or less. I don't know how long it took, but he's huge. And who else got canceled recently and is now on X or with Elon? I can't remember. There's another example, but it seems like when you get canceled, just you go to X, you get on the Elon ship, and you're good to go. So I fucking love what Elon's doing, man. I'm a huge fan, dude. I'm a fanboy.
Yeah, I agree. And I sent you the Greg tweet if you want to just pull it up. It's quite funny. And then this is a perfect moment to pivot into our Elon fanboy talk that we can go through. On a side note, Greg Yang, the head of the XAI's team, is fucking hilarious. I'm out like his sense of humor.
This Greg Anonymous dude?
No, Greg Yang, the head of XAI.
Sorry.
Yeah. Greg Anonymous.
Okay.
The anonymous Greg is also hilarious. So he posted this, like moments after the announcement. Greg Yang, who is the head of XAI's research, moments after the announcement that Greg Brockman was going to be stepping down, or he quit from OpenAI after the news of Sam Altman getting fired, Greg Yang posts announcing the formation of @GRegPT, a new company to create the best AG Greg by me, Greg Brockman, and Greg1667, And then if you scroll down, Greg writes, Greg's Ride Together. And then if you click on his profile, you'll be able to see all the ridiculous shit that he posts. Oh, no. So, yeah, click onto his profile.
This one,
just
how do
Greg.
I do that? Okay.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Look at the picture. Oh my God. Look at the Last Supper picture. That's mad funny. Who is that? Saddam Hussein in the middle there? Is Jesus?
I don't know. I don't know. Zoom in. I can't see.
I don't know. Who is that? I thought it was Saddam Hussein. I don't know. Do you recognize this guy?
No. I feel like I should, but I don't. All right, scroll to. You just be able to see some of the trolling shit that he posts.
Sorry, guy. There's Wendy's here. That's mad funny. They're eating Wendy's. And whose head is on the center platter here?
I don't know, but I know Jerome Powell's there on the right.
All right. So what did you want to see?
I like football and stocks, and my birthday. I'm from Kentucky. I'm an investor. I like to golf at the golf course.
Coincides really well with the picture. That looks
Yeah,
like how this person would talk.
correct. But yeah, he's a funny guy.
Can someone explain why I have to pay tax when I buy stuff with my money that was already taxed? He
Point
must
Greg,
be, does he live in San Francisco
probably. No, I think he's
or
from Kentucky.
California?
He goes, things have been extra crazy in the world ever since Snoop Dogg gave up smoking.
That didn't happen. That wouldn't
Good
happen.
morning to everyone except for the people it's not morning for.
Breaking
Anyway, he's a
Elon
troll.
Musk and SpaceX. Okay.
Okay, so good pivot point, right? So Elon, a guy who's doing crazy shit, he's moving fast and breaking stuff. He's trying to expand the reaches of consciousness. He's trying to keep the light of consciousness alive. He's trying to make the human race interplanetary. He's doing big things, and he's trying a bunch of shit. And I mad respect that. I know you mad respect that. And inevitably, when you try and do things that have never been done before, you can't be perfect, right? So there will be failures. There will be things that go wrong. There will be unknown unknowns. There will be problems. There will be all sorts of different things. The uncertainty is immense, but you have to wade into that uncertainty to achieve things that have not been achieved before, right? And he's doing it. So Starship had its second launch overnight. Pretty damn amazing. So I sent you a few videos there. If you wanted to pull any of them up, maybe a shorter one, we can just have a quick look. I just want to make a note.
I got goosebumps. I haven't
That's
seen this
amazing.
yet, by the way. I got goosebumps. Which one? Starship launch live broadcast?
Not the live. That's a very long one. Just click one of the
Okay.
shorter ones.
Okay.
I just love the
All right. I
sound
don't
that the rocket makes. It's just insane.
Wow. That's a
Like,
beautiful
by the
shot.
way, this thing is humongous. It is absolutely humongous, the size of Starship when it's on the boosters. Like, it is just bonkers.
Yeah, it's the biggest, like, I don't know what to call it. It's not like an aircraft. Can you say that? Can you categorize it as an aircraft? But it's bigger than
spaceship.
anything that flies, basically. Yeah.
100%.
But like, it's like he was talking about, he said it's like, it's way bigger than anything that's been built before that can fly. I don't know how to put it.
Imagine like the tallest skyscraper thing you've ever seen, and then imagine that just taking off and launching into space. That's essentially what this is. This is like a ginormous fucking thing.
He, this, what's the movie? I think it's The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yep.
So there's a scene in The Dictator where he's pissed off about like the rocket, I think, because it's like has like a rounded top, and he's telling them, "Yo, like make it pointier. Like we cannot be launching rockets with this round top because it doesn't look scary enough. So make that thing pointier." And Elon said in an interview that he got them to make Starship like the tip of it pointier because of that movie. and then when he was asked, I think it might have been with Rogan actually, when he was asked, "Well, does it make the ship more aerodynamic?" And he's like, "Well, it actually doesn't have like a big effect on that." And he actually said that that if how did he say it? He said it's
arguably worse,
slightly worse. Yeah. I fucking love that, man. I love that guy. That's so funny.
I agree.
All right,
he has a good sense of humor, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, he's so funny. He's like this amazing mix of everything because he's nerdy, but he's also like really funny, and he's like up to date with internet humor and what's funny and memes, and he's like really cool at the same time. Like he's like a nerdy genius, but also like really cool. It's weird. You don't normally see like that combination at that level, like you do with
He's
him.
a
You know what
very
I
rare
mean?
person. Yeah, absolutely. He's super
Yeah,
rare.
yeah. All right, guys, should we watch this?
Yeah, press it. Let's go. Listen to the sound, by the way.
Okay, here we go. Wow, did you see that ring of
Both.
what was that?
So they're about 1,000 feet, those plumes that are coming out. Look at
Holy
that.
fuck.
How intense is that sound?
Yeah, it's mad intense.
That crackling.
God damn. Like,
All
look at
right.
the shockwave at the beginning, eh? The
Yeah.
shockwave at the beginning is really cool. Man, that is so badass, dude.
So they had the most successful flight they've had so far. Okay, so I think there's 33 Raptor engines that fired, and they all went this time. So last time there were a few engines that had some failures. So it wasn't all of the engine, like all the engines didn't fire last time, and there were some issues there. This time, all of them fired. They took off. They had separation of the super heavy booster and the Starship. And then the boosters disconnected and then flipped and then just exploded. Like, oof. Insane footage. So there's another video there we can watch in a second. And then Starship continued on, and I think it made it like, I think it made it 148 kilometers, and then they lost signal with it. But it was the most successful flight to date, right? They would have gathered immense amounts of data. And again, all of these things, like they're trying, they've got their goals for the mission, but they know that things can go wrong because this is uncharted territory. Nobody has ever done this before. Like there is no playbook that you can follow that's like, oh, these guys did it, let's follow what they did. This is all new stuff. Anyway, so the most successful flight for Starship thus far, okay, the second time they've launched one of these big dogs. And then if you look at the media and the way that they portray it, it's fascinating. So I sent you a tweet from Alexandros Marinos, who summed it up pretty well, in my opinion. But it's just fascinating to see how the media portray somebody who's trying so hard to do something that expands the possibility space for humanity. And they just shit on it. And it just baffles me. So if you could just zoom in on that just a little bit. So that's the headline. SpaceX loses contact with Starship rocket after second launch attempt. SpaceX's second Starship test flight ends in another explosion. SpaceX Starship and Super Heavy booster launch and failure. SpaceX Starship rocket explodes. Elon Musk still far from Mars dreams. Like, it's interesting how they leverage the negativity. Obviously, I think they're trying to get views, clicks, and I would hope that those articles are a little bit less or a little bit more holistic. But it's just fascinating because the failures in these things are inevitable. Like, it can't be perfect. But it baffles me why that isn't something that's spoken about more often. You know what I mean?
Well, the failures need to occur. It's part of the process because from failures, you learn so much. And Elon has mentioned that many times before. It's that, well, actually, when things go wrong, it's actually a really good thing most of the time because we learn so much about how to improve things. If things went smoothly all the time, right, you didn't have these huge errors, then you would have less of a learning curve and you would have less experience and less ability to make, the best rocket that you can potentially make. So it has to happen. And that's how science works. You try, it doesn't work. You try it again, and then you build up like this plethora of knowledge through errors. That's how we progress. So I'm baffled by that as well. But I think it's what you said, dude. They're just looking for these fucking clicks. But dude, get behind him. He's trying to save the goddamn world. Like, why wouldn't you get behind that? Like,
Yeah, no, I can't.
It's sad.
It is. It
It
really
makes
is.
no
So
sense.
this is also relevant to this whole OpenAI stuff because you have the doomers, so to speak, and then you have the accelerationists at two ends of the spectrum. And obviously, somewhere in the middle is the sweet spot. But essentially, there's a group of people, or a large group of people, that believe that you shouldn't do things unless you know that they're 100% safe. But that also dramatically and drastically limits growth, like massively. Okay, so if you have to make sure that everything that you're going to do is safe and proven so, and all of these different things, you can't make big progress. You can't make fundamental leaps and bounds. And it's also, like, in and of itself, a way of stifling progress, but indirectly, it increases the chances of something horribly bad going wrong later on, because you don't have the advancements in technology that could get you out of those situations. So that was a confused way to say that failure is a first attempt in learning, and there is so much to learn from that, and we have to embrace it. We can't live in a bubble wrap world, right? Some shit will go wrong. Some things will be hard to take. All of those things are true. But it's the only thing we can do to continue to progress technology and our ability and our autonomy in this universe, right? Like, if we want to be able to spread life and or consciousness beyond just the planet Earth, we have to do these things. And as you mentioned, it's crazy that more people aren't behind it. Like, this guy is out there doing things that inspire me, and I'm sure inspire, so many others, especially children. Like, what else do they have to aspire to? Like, this guy is doing something that is incredibly, like, advantageous and crazy and cool, but it has the potential to take us from this little tiny planet to expanding out into the galaxy. Like, that to me is a goal and a mission worth getting behind. And it just shocks me that more people don't do it, or that aren't behind it.
You would think that a headline just saying, Starship launches would be enough for you to click on it. It's crazy to me that they have to make something controversial or take like a negative angle to try and get people to click on it. Like, if that's what's driving you to click, man, like, you gotta, like, I don't know what to say, but if a spaceship launch isn't enough for you to click on it, that also baffles me. Like, it's unnecessary to, you know what I mean? Like, that's Starship launched. That's it. Starship launched. That's enough. Oh shit. That's all right. Let's check this out. That's it. You know what I mean? We don't need a controversial headline.
Starship, most successful launch to date.
Guy, exactly. I feel like that's way more clickable than any of those stupid headlines that we read. Like, I don't even think their tactic is being successful. I think their mindset is so, this unidimensional mindset of negativity sells and fuck Elon and all this shit, that they just can't get out of this bubble that they've created, and they just keep going down, or I don't know if it's a rabbit hole or what, but they just keep digging themselves into this deep, then into this hole, as it's just getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and like, it's ridiculous. And this is why so many new independent news organizations are popping off. Like,
without a doubt,
they're killing themselves. They're like hitting the self-destruct button every time they do it, man. Oh, well, it's good. It's good though. It's good. Welcome.
That's what this is what the doomerism, or that effective altruist leads to. It ends up killing itself. It fundamentally is unsustainable. It's crazy. So, like, do you think with all of this, like, is it a jealousy thing? Like, is it jealousy? Are they intimidated by him? Or, like, obviously it's not going to be any, like, just one thing. It'll be lots of different things. But, like, to me, it baffles me. Like, I think to myself, like, he is doing inspiring stuff. He is doing things that are fundamentally expansive, right? And to me, that seems like, we don't really have a shared vision globally, or as humanity, we don't really have a shared vision for the future. It's not something that we really talk about. Like, we're not trying to transcend to this, to all that we could, or not all that we could be, but to reach our potentials in different spaces. It's kind of just like, if you read the mainstream media, it's war, conflict, and all of this other drama. But like, he's doing things that literally are inspiring. Like, they make people want to be more than what they currently are. They're trying to get people to transcend. But yeah, what do you what is your running hypotheses for why that might be the case? Like, is it just that it sells?
Guy,
Is it that they're scared, they're threatened, they're intimidated, they're jealous?
it could be that, eh? It could be that. So I'll tell you my immediate thought about it, and maybe we can build off that and try and figure out more in depth what it could actually be. But my immediate thought is that he's sort of anti-establishment in many ways. And, obviously these big media corporations are, have to be pro-establishment because they are the establishment. It could just be as simple as that he has anti-establishment tendencies, and that's it.
He's like, dangerous for their control.
Yeah. Yeah. They put him in the same category as Trump and Rogan. Like, I don't want to put Rogan and I don't want to put Trump in the same category as Rogan and Elon, but the media has done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Elon to me is very different from those two. But yes, there is
absolutely
some small overlap for sure.
Yeah, and it's just like anyone who has a large audience who is somewhat anti-establishment, I think they're afraid of. And they just, that's what it seems like to me. But like, is it deeper than that? I don't know. It could be just that simple. Like, we are humans, we evolved from monkeys that throw shit at each other. So it could just be that simple.
There are still humans that do that, by the way.
Yeah, well, because that's de-evolution. Like, there is de-evolution occurring, right? This woke culturism. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, 100%. Blind virus.
Yeah, so I think it's just as simple as that. I think Elon buying Twitter was bad for them, bad for their control. That took a large hit on the establishment. Even Elon's message is sort of, he's trying to give people the tools to be better, be more productive. Even the way I've heard some of his, the way he hires people, the way he builds teams and everything he does is very unique, and it's more geared towards bettering the world, bettering people. And the establishment is not really feeling that. That's not really their vision. That's not really the direction that they want to take us. So he's the enemy in many ways. I think it might just be as simple as that, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, I think yes, that's threatening the control structure. But the craziest thing is that control structure kills itself, right? Like, it actually does. So you always need your Elons and your people to come and push against that. It's that tension that we always talk about between order and chaos. Or, like, he really does challenge them. He does challenge the status quo, and he challenges their level of power and control. But we need that to happen, because it's what leads us to advancements, and it pushes, it furthers the light code, so to speak, for humanity. But yeah, I think that honestly, that's probably the Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is that he goes against that control structure. One little side tangent I just remembered, sorry, while we're going through that, is Starship was set to launch a month or 2 months earlier. Like, it was meant to launch 2 months ago or a month ago, right? And it was held up. Do you know why it was held up?
No, I have no idea. I couldn't even take a guess. I don't know.
It was held up because of the fish, the Sea and Fish Board or something like that. One of the environmental protection boards, right? to do with fish, because they were concerned because apparently there was a few dead turtles found after the last Starship launch. Anyway, so they held it up for a ridiculous amount of time, and Elon's made this funny statement. He's like, I find it hard to believe that we can build rockets faster than they can approve paperwork. Right? Mad interesting point. Yeah. But I just wanted to bring this other tangent. So Elon mentioned that there was some drama they had previously with one of the environmental boards about the impact on seals, because Cape Canaveral, where they launched from, apparently there's like a seal population nearby or something like that. So they were worried about the impact it was going to have on the seals, specifically the noise. So what the Environmental Protection Board, or whatever that body was, they got seals and they strapped speakers to the seals, and they subjected the seals to prolonged noises to see the damage that it would cause. And there's a fucked up picture of what that looked like. But is that not crazy?
What the hell?
Yeah.
So the environmentalists did this study?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, I'll quickly get it up.
What the fuck? So the environmentalists are concerned about the seals, about the noise. So how about we do a study where we obliterate these seals with noise to see how much damage it does? Meanwhile, during the study, we found that many seals were severely damaged from the noise that, coming from the speakers. Conclusion, noise does hurt seals. So fucking seals up in the process. It's so funny, man.
But this is the thing. We can't, unfortunately, we can't guarantee that there will be no damage or no harm to everything. We can't protect everything and progress, right? Like unfortunately, it's a bit of a harsh reality, but there will be some. This has happened throughout human history. Like, not everyone has had perfect lives or lives that didn't have pain or didn't have any of that. That is, in a sense, the ebb and flow of life, in a way. You know what I mean? Like, even we talk about this all the time, but a life where you have no downs isn't really a life, because it means you don't have ups, because there's nothing for the up to be relative to, right? It's just meh. So we have to embrace a bit of that. But I just thought it was very interesting that they themselves strapped these speakers to these seals and subjected them to some form of torture to see what the effects would be.
Jesus, that's kind of dark, actually. This is like part of the woke mind virus, is that they don't actually provide any solutions to anything. They just want to, I don't know. Everything is bad. Everything is wrong. Everyone is so annoying. So annoying. It's like limiting our progress. And the whole vision of Elon Musk, like, if you actually listen to the vision, it's dope. Because he says, and he said this many times before, is that there's going to come a day when the world will have an extinction event where humans on the earth will become extinct. There are way too many variables, way too many possible circumstances that could lead to a mass extinction on planet Earth. It is what it is.
Correct.
The sun is expanding, for one, right? So if a comet doesn't come and destroy the planet, or a supervolcano, or a disease, while the sun is expanding currently, it's getting closer to the Earth, and it'll eventually consume it. It's just inevitable.
Not so much that it's expanding and will consume the Earth. The sun has a finite time, and at some point it will blow up, essentially, and it will incinerate everything in its vicinity, and we're in its vicinity, so we'll get fucked up. But I think that's a few billion years away, right? But if we don't do anything, if we don't do anything for those few billion years, we're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. But we shouldn't look at it that way. And like, having that perspective, it's billions and billions of years. Yes, that is correct. But look, we currently have the manpower. We currently have the technology. We currently have the resources to progress something that we couldn't have, in terms of what we know about human history thus far. And we have the abilities to do it now. So we have to take advantage of it now. It's not something that we want to wait for. No, because if we wait, maybe a disease will get us. Maybe a super volcano will get us. Maybe something else will happen, right? So you got to take advantage of the time that you have now in order to make those advancements. You don't do it when you think, oh, okay, the sun's going to go out in a billion years. So, in 999,999, blah, 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 years, we'll start this process of trying to become multi-planetary. No. You do it when you can, and the time is obviously now. Elon's on track to, he's making a lot of significant progress, and it's amazing. And let's just get behind it. Let's just do it. Let's just get behind it. It makes sense. His vision makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like again, it's expanding our light cone. It's expanding our sort of degrees of freedom in the universe. It's amazing. It means we can go and explore more of the universe. It's a beautiful thing, and it's something that we as a society, as humanity, as people can aspire to. It creates hope. Like, I think back to how inspiring the space program was back in the day for so many people. And then all of the advancements and the breakthroughs in so many different things that led to, right? It pushes, it challenges what we currently know. And then from there, we can develop more. So many inventions and so many improvements to the quality of human life came from that program, the space program, because it pushes the limits of what we know. It pushes engineering, it pushes physics, it pushes all of those things. It just, unfortunately, you can't guarantee that it will be 100% safe for everyone and everything on planet Earth. But that's what we need. Like, in a sense, that's a bit of the price we have to pay for those advancements. Do you want to see a couple more of those videos? There's some pretty good ones. That was a very short one.
Okay, so the other one you sent me, you said it's a lot longer. It's the live one, right?
Yeah, so that's pretty good. There's footage. A couple of others as well.
No, wait. I have one that says Live Bori on X, and there's also...
Yeah, click on that one. She has a different perspective. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's a different perspective. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll just make this bigger. Put the sound on, because you're right, dude. The sound is fucking dope.
It's insane.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Stand up. Come on. It's going. Woo! Let's go. Come on, Starship.
Yeah, the sound just got to them.
Yeah, how insane is that?
So when you see these take off, they take off at like this angle. Now, is that a perspective angle, or is it actually slightly turning? Do you know?
I think it's slightly turning, because they had a flight path that they had to meet.
Yeah.
So the plan for it was to take off from there, launch, then the separation of the super heavy boosters and Starship, and then the boosters were going to come back and land in the water, I think, or on one of those landing platforms that SpaceX has. And then the Starship was going to continue on and then set down in Hawaii, or near Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
In the water somewhere near Hawaii. Okay. So they had it was a different flight path. They weren't just trying to get to Mars, so to speak.
Right. Okay, I understand. So hence the angle, right? Because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of...
Yeah.
So Elon's whole thing is making rockets cheaper, reusable, and self-landing as well, which are all incredible breakthroughs. But the issue is that so much of the rocket becomes damaged because of, the mass combustion that's occurring and the high heat and everything. So it's a, still a long ways away, but that's sort of the goal, right? To make it reusable basically, and make it reusable efficient as well. So for example, when like a flight, like I don't know, like an Airbus 380, for example, when it lands, they just refuel it. I don't know what exactly
they do
maybe
some
like a quick
checks.
check or something.
Yeah, they do a bunch of checks. They make sure everything's good to go, and then it can go again.
And then exactly within an hour or two, it usually takes off again, right? Like it's the what's it called? Like the transitory period of a plane is quite fast, isn't it?
Correct.
Is it an hour or it's around? I don't know. It's small anyways. So that's sort of the goal with these spaceships, is to be able to turnover, like the turnover rate, is to get the turnover rate really efficient. Yeah, turnaround time.
Yeah,
super efficient. But I mean, this self-landing rocket, like that's completely insane. Like it literally looks like you're watching a video in reverse. Like it doesn't even look real when you see these rockets land.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, but dude,
no one had ever done that before. But because he was crazy enough to think that it was possible, and then run it and be like, actually, physically, this should be possible, right? Okay, let's try. And then they failed and failed and learnt and failed and learnt and failed. And then guess what? They ended up nailing it, right? Now they do it all the time. SpaceX has launched the most stuff into space. Like, it's ridiculous now. Like, but it takes a crazy vision. It takes being willing to do something that could fail. It takes being willing to be wrong. It takes being willing to try shit that hasn't been done before in order to progress. And that's what I love. Like, and it's, to me, again, I'm just going to sound like a broken record, but it's crazy that more people don't get behind that. Like, once you realize that that's how progress is made, it's just like beautiful, because again, it's why we're idiots, right? We embrace the fact that we don't know everything, right? We can't know everything yet, but embracing that idiocy and being like, yeah, we're idiots, opens the door for us to learn so many things, because we acknowledge that we don't know everything, right? Which then creates the space for you to learn more and know more things.
Yeah. I wonder how, like, other inventors or geniuses were sort of accepted into the mainstream back in the day. Like if you think about like any sort of big time inventor, I don't know, Thomas Edison invented the phone, or was it the light bulb?
The light bulb, but I don't know. Thomas Edison's a strange character. I don't know if he invented a lot of stuff. I feel like he got smart people and then sort of brought their products to market.
Yeah, that's true. There is some controversy with that. Maybe that wasn't a good example, but I'm just curious, like the Elon Musk of like the early 1900s, like how was that person accepted into the community? You know what I mean?
I don't think they are. This is the thing. I think that this is what happens. So like you have this sort of, what would it be? Control structure, right? Like we were just talking about, but you have like the general sort of consensus, like, of society at that time. And that anyone that comes around that says anything that's sufficiently different, they're crazy, right? Because most people can't comprehend or understand or even conceptualize what they're talking about. Like think about the Wright brothers. I think we've spoken about this before. They were considered to be crazy, right? Like, you guys are crazy. No one's ever done that. They make the impossible possible, right? And so they go against the grain in that regard. So I think it's kind of like, think about like it's a natural immune system kind of response to go against those people. Like not everyone can get behind it. Yeah, knowing it's a no-brainer to get behind it.
Yeah, because look at the Wright brothers now. They're revered as, these incredible, industrious pioneers of flight.
Yeah.
So in 100 years, Elon will be looked at the same way.
Yeah, but you have to, this is the interesting thing. It's like in your time, the bulk of people will probably consider you to be like, crazy, horrible, insane, etc., etc., etc. It's only over time will it emerge that was actually an amazing thing.
Well, just watch Elon on the Rogan podcast, on Lex Friedman podcast, even on the Nelk Boys. Like, he is a good guy. It's obvious. You know what I mean? He's looking out for the human population and the world. Like, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as a bullshitter or a liar. He is who he is because he speaks the same on whichever platform that he's on, that he's done interviews on. So you just watch him. Like, he seems like a great guy.
I don't think it's that they think he's a bad guy. I think it's that they fundamentally cannot understand him. He thinks so sufficiently different from how how the bulk of people think, that it's just so foreign to them. They can't even conceptualize it, if that makes sense, right? They can't necessarily get behind it because they can't even understand it, because he's trying shit that's so on the edge, if that makes sense.
Did you hear his reason for wanting to buy X or Twitter?
Like, not directly. No, I haven't heard him state exactly why.
So he had a concern. He was concerned that this little woke culture that is kind of started in like California. What's it called?
It's EA, effective altruism, is part of that as well.
Effective altruism?
Yeah, that's a Sam Bankman-Fried stuff.
Okay. So what's that industry there? Like the tech industry called in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, yeah.
Yeah, so this sort of woke culture that is normally contained to a small geographical point is now everywhere. It's like all over the world. It infects the entire world because of social media, and it used Twitter to sort of infect the entire world. And that was sort of one of his concerns. And he wanted to, change that. He wanted to change that, so this woke culture isn't just the only narrative, right? And that was sort of his motivation for buying Twitter. I can't remember who he told that to, but but that was sort of one of his reasons. I think he had other reasons, but one of his reasons that he was legit concerned the way woke culture was infecting the entire world.
Yeah. Also turned out to be, like, that's fascinating, but also turned out to be he was onto something way bigger, because once he got the findings of how the CIA and the FBI had infiltrated Twitter and were using it to censor and push narratives and to do all sorts of ridiculous control, was insane. Like, he really uncovered a whole bunch of fuckery that was happening within that company. And if it's happening there, that it's got to be happening to varying levels and degrees in other places as well. So yeah, he did an amazing thing there. $44 billion is a lot of money. But yeah, it did a really good service. Interesting, currently there are a bunch of businesses that are boycotting advertising on X, which includes Apple, I believe Google, and a bunch of other companies, according to the New York Times. So fascinating stuff. But they're going against him because, again, he's trying to do this free speech. But even Elon, okay, so I just want to play the devil's advocate here. Even he is flawed. He's not perfect, right? So he goes on about free speech, but then there's a bit of controversy because he was suspending a bunch of accounts, or a bunch of accounts were getting suspended for posting sort of anti-Semitic stuff, and he was saying that they're referencing a passage that essentially implies genocide. So that's why they were getting suspended. But then on the flip side of that, there were a bunch of Israeli and Jewish people who were actively promoting, like wiping Palestinians off the map, etc. And they weren't getting suspended. So even he is flawed, and even he is not perfect. Like, he does, you know what I mean? So we've got to remember that as well. Like, yes, he's doing amazing things, but he's still human and is fallible.
No, that's a great point. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, everyone's going to make mistakes. Elon's going to make mistakes. He's going to make some bad decisions, and it's
inevitable.
It is what it is. It's inevitable, but
yeah.
it's
just because somebody makes one bad
vision.
thing. Yeah, that's right. just because somebody makes one bad thing or whatever, doesn't define them as being that way. But typically as a society, that's how we typically class people. That you do one thing, you're done forever. As opposed to like, okay, this person made mistakes and they're trying to change from that.
Did you hear Dana White's take on when companies try and control, like when companies pay ad space or ad revenue to, like, did you hear, sorry, I fucked that up, but did you hear Dana White's rant on Theo Vaughn's podcast about Peloton?
Okay, no, but apparently he said fuck Peloton.
Yeah, it was mad funny because Theo was asking him, so how do you handle those situations when a company tells you, we need you to take this video down from your account because it's not in line with our political views or whatnot, because that recently happened to Theo with Peloton. And Dana was like, I tell him, like, fuck you. Like, you are not going to control who I vote for, like, respectfully, I respect your views and who you vote for, and you need to respect mine. So go fuck yourself, and I won't do business with them. And that's what you need to do.
Love that.
And it's sort of, and Theo had this story about where Peloton called him and they told him to take down this interview that he did with RFK because they weren't in line, because, I don't know, with some political views or whatnot. So Dana went on this, he went on this huge rant, like, fuck you, Peloton. They even brought up the owner. Yeah. They brought up like a picture of the owner, and Dana was mad, chirping the owner, saying this guy looks like a complete fucking douchebag. But this is the best part. He turns to one of his guys. He's like, what kind of bikes do we got in the gym there? Are those Peloton bikes? Get rid of them. Get rid of those bikes. After this podcast, we're throwing all those fucking Pelotons in the trash can. Like, we're getting rid of all of them. Fuck Peloton. Like, he went hard, hilarious. Dude. It was mad funny. Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah, he's actually emerging as a kind of decent character. Hey, Dana White.
Yeah, I like Dana. I like his shit. Yeah. Like, he's good. So going back to Google, trying to separate themselves from Twitter, do it Dana White style, man. Fuck you then. That's it. Like, we don't have to do business together. Peace out. And once you go woke, you go broke anyway. So who cares?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting mind virus to observe. Did we cover? I can't remember if we filmed the episode about woke being communism in disguise or being a mutation.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm blanking.
We should do that though.
If we haven't done it, we're going to do it.
Because it is.
It is.
We
it
should,
really
because
is.
it is like communism. It's crazy. It's so funny that the people in it don't see it.
Yeah, that's right. And then EA, effective altruism, is also communism in disguise. It's fascinating. Might possibly an interesting way to categorize certain kinds of beliefs and what they lead to, or potentially could lead to.
Yeah, so I don't think that's going to have an effect on Elon at all. Like, if people want to part ways with Elon, it doesn't matter. He's got more than escape velocity. I mean, he doesn't need anybody. Long term,
I don't think it's going to make a difference.
No, I don't think so. You know that only 2 car companies in the history of American car companies didn't go bankrupt, and one of them was Tesla.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I can't remember what the other one was, but I didn't realize that it was that difficult. Like, car companies had, that the market was that difficult where car companies were going bankrupt constantly. Like, big fucking companies.
Doing anything that's like sufficiently, changing, like impactful, anything is so difficult. Like, especially doing it at scale is super difficult. Like, just the logistics, getting people to work together, like all of those things are so incredibly difficult. But yeah, absolutely. I know it's easy to think that just like, they just make billions of dollars or whatever. But what you don't see is like how much stuff goes into that and how ridiculously hard it is to coordinate huge amounts of people together to do things or achieve things at scale.
I don't think Elon is down with the younger Dryas hypothesis, where we've had advanced civilizations thousands and thousands of years ago, like more than 13,000 years ago. Because I think he was on the Lex Freedom podcast and he was talking about some of the oldest scriptures are from like 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, and they weren't considering things that, our boy Graham Hancock. Holy shit! I finally remembered his name.
You did
on the pod.
Congratulations.
Yeah. That he's been talking about for some reason. For some reason, Elon Musk isn't. He when I was hearing him talk to Lex about it, I think it was Lex. He wasn't really considering some of that area. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Has he been exposed to that information? Like, is he even aware
maybe not.
of it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we only know what we know, so to speak.
Yeah, you're right.
There are known knowns, known unknowns, and there are unknown unknowns. And so, like, again, remembering that everybody has a different set of training data. They have a different set of information that they've been exposed to, and not everybody knows everything, and no one person knows everything. You know what I mean? Like, we're blind to many different things. Like, I'm sure we've made a bunch of mistakes during this podcast because we don't have all the information. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if he has been exposed to that and he doesn't believe it, or if he's just completely unaware of it.
Yeah, it could be that he's unaware. Maybe you're right. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because he was talking about that, like, for humans to become interplanetary, that would be like, this would be the first time that we'd be able to do it. Right, that this never happened in the history of the human race. And when he was saying that, he sounded very certain that it's never happened before, and he was sort of unsure whether or not aliens exist as well, because he hasn't seen any good enough evidence that convinces him that aliens do exist. So, because I think there is a possibility that maybe humans have become interplanetary, many ages ago. I think there is that possibility. And it seems that Elon is not buying that, or maybe he's not aware of some of those.
Think about it like this. What an amazing driving force for you to think that you are the person that is pushing this for the first time ever. Do you know what I mean? So maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that helps with the motivation. It helps with, like, getting up every day and just facing the immense amount of shit that he would have to go through. Like, there's actually a great clip from Lex Friedman's most recent podcast with Elon, where he's, like, really candid and honest about, like, he says a lot of people think that they'd want to be me, or look at my life and think I've got it so great, but they don't realize my mind is a store. It's hard to be me. It's hard to be in my mind. I don't think many people want my life, right? Like, it's really hard. And he goes on about, like, there are many nights where he sleeps alone. He doesn't have to, but he does. To be him would just be an immense amount of pressure and stress and continuous problem solving. Like, no day would necessarily be easy for him. Like, he's continuously having to solve the hardest problems. And I think that's a huge task and burden to undertake. I'm glad that he's doing it. I'm so thankful that he's doing it, right? But yeah, maybe that's part of it, is like, in order for him to get up each day and be able to face these things, is part of the motivation is he truly believes that he is the first to do this. And that helps it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't consider it like that way.
So sometimes ignorance is bliss in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you have to be a little bit, I don't know, I don't want to use the word delusional, but it does work to motivate you if you are slightly delusional about certain things, right?
Yes, without a doubt. Lots of people wouldn't have started their companies if they knew just how hard it was going to be. They started it because they thought it was going to be easy. And then once they were in, they're like, it's too late now. I'm just going to keep going. And then because of that, we thankfully have all these, amazing things and improvements.
Yeah. Rubes, do you got to get going, by the way?
I do. My laptop is just about to run out of battery.
Okay, because I could tell that something was starting to happen. I wasn't sure what it was. If you had to go somewhere or do something, or I couldn't tell what it was, but I felt that that time was running out for one reason or another.
But yes, so we can wrap it up. I'm very thankful that we have the Elon Musks and other people like him in this world who get up each day and do incredibly hard shit, solve immense problems, and wear the weight of so much responsibility and chaos on them. And that it helps us to push into places that we've never been before and to further the light cone of humanity. I think it's a beautiful thing, and it would be nice to see more people get behind that and support it.
Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. All right, let's
We'll wrap it.
Yeah, let's wrap it there, bro. Good job.
Well, thank you very much, Idiots Squared viewers. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you think that we're stupid. That would be very helpful. And stay tuned, because next week we'll have another episode that we don't know about yet.
Maybe some Wolfram shit.
Wolfram shit or some woke shit. All right, guys. Peace out. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Love you, bro. Peace.
Love you too, guy. Bye.
Later.